The date is Wednesday, May 6th, 11:27, non-important time. So last night, big video at the end, I put the priest in their place. And just I'm making clear, right? When I say about the gay thing, get out, they can be gay, but just immediately, like I said, you're not prone in this, and you're certainly not born like this. But again, some adult robs children very young and take them all, so to speak, almost in their orbit. You know what I mean? Okay. Because if you think that there's no consequences in this, look at the planets. They have orbits and they're bigger than you. Imagine you. Now, whatever you're doing. No, children. Last night. Okay, second night out again. Man, I don't know. I did it this winter. Money in the mind for first time. Didn't care how I'm gonna end up. Facely speaking, looking ugly. It is true that the money chasing money, like I said yesterday, it makes you ugly. That's a fact. That's why artists, they take their appearance first, and then after some interest it comes, but they lose in blindness and sleepiness and self-love, which if they don't talk about Jesus is nothing. Self-love too is bad, because Jesus is better than you. God is better than you. Then loving God is loving yourself. But hating yourself, looking at you, it's bad actually, because if you know better, Jesus has better quality than you and God. Another thing I thought about was I'm trying to figure out an order here. Well, first of all, you know Archie Mounbatten, when I saw the prophetic, I heard, leave him alone. But there's a new mind and thought when he was giving money to people, the black person, and 3 stages of his life, but I saw him 3 youth. You know, the whole saying, when you toss a corner to somebody and say, go buy yourself a life. Well, he was telling people, go buy yourself this, go buy yourself that. He was giving it away very young. And then finally to buy the radio, which I said, this might be like the scripture, false prophet making an image to the beast. The 5Gs everywhere will look at you, take away your freedom, which means your freedom of religion, which means if there is one salvation, religion is taken away. And atheistic communist, like many apparition of Virgin Mary, great prophet of God in heaven, and your mother, more than a prophet, the Queen of Peace, saying that atheistic communists in the 60s with Garabandal and many other places in Europe, Eastern Europe too, that communist was the enemy number one of mankind, and because it takes your freedom away. And one second here. See this type of man, this is a bit casualty of the time. Not casualty, but you know, a truck passes. I don't know how to put it in my words. And me, I'm advancing to God. A sin puts you back. But now somebody comes with a big disgusting noise. Now, it's influencing me. I even put pause the video. I'm losing time, you're losing time, and I backwards. Now, I'm not making myself God, but I'm saying, if I want to try to help people, obviously you cannot save everyone. But let's say I'm saying, okay, I'm going to be the best, and people like this influence you to go backwards. I understand that sometimes you need to be part of the world, and you cannot just go in front alone. You got to go back sometimes because you're mixing with people. And that's where artists oftentimes don't do. They close their house in a big castle gel, trying to look pretty, go out 10-15 minutes, and then when they have enough of people, they go hide again. And people think they're very nice, hot shot. No, I'm gonna take a walk here. Now there was other things I wanted to talk. Yeah, Archie Mounbatten, go buy yourself a life. And I put comments and I heard you're gonna regret. And usually when I heard that, man, I'm telling you, there's big stuff happening. And I said, okay, I can't lose time. But let me teach people now that I'm saying that I go backwards. One guy yesterday came in this Jesus prophetic series of videos and tells, hey, and when I was sleeping, and I'll tell you why I slept. Something happened yesterday. I made a mistake, but my mistake will enlighten a lot of people since I share it, and I'm not ashamed because I have a goal in mind, and the goal is well, the goal used to be the best man, and that's the goal that everybody should have. And then when you know you can do better but you don't, that's close to death, like God told me. Or in other words, it's corruption. And for some that don't do nothing, it's well, it's with everything, you know. Bullying starts aside. When I'm at St. Michael, they broom a guy in the brum, and you know, deviancy, deterioration. But other people is laziness, so-called losing, professionally speaking, not shining, and then they get on medication to excuse themselves, to not fight anymore, be slow, not need to buy so much food like they were supposed to and produce, so the belly, the system goes slow and always full with medication. So well, what else I wanted to talk? Oh yeah, telling you, last night, this is not a place to do it because it's not 100% pink, spiritually speaking, and I don't want to influence nobody here, but I'm gonna say it on camera one time. I'm not gonna do that mistake twice, and I'll tell you why it happened. And well, okay, last night, for maybe in the last year since I returned to God, I came in Toronto, and I hate Toronto. And then I swear on the thing, and I slept with one person. It was a massage place, and she liked it. And I was on the beach for 2 weeks, and I was in short. And when I entered there, I know that there was one guy in government I spoke because he came to see say my code name, something that I lost a dog, Mika, and he said, "Let's go, Mika, let's go." And I crossed, and I heard "don't turn," and I did it, and the guy just passed. And he was in the middle of nowhere. He's gonna look a dog in the middle of an island and saying 3-4 times this. So, but I was young, I didn't turn, I heard that anyways. And then maybe the next day, 2 days, a week later, I go in this massage thing, and woman gives me a rebate, a little sex thing goes around. But just before that, they ring bells, and she seems to obviously talk, even if it's a guy looking, but it seems fishy to me. The place, area, Russian woman, which I mean, they can get corrupt. No, I'm joking, but something goes along, and then I think I have the dream, which I posted a bit later because I'm like, what do you want me to do? Which was RCMP, which I have a file, they know, and I'm not hiding because I'm trying to help. And even before I was publishing any movies, I know they, because of the art, they had a file on me, FBI, and see some visitation of the Antichrist, Obama, many Antichrist spirit. And then, and it was not in God, it was in the bad thing. So I see it like a snuff kind of movie, but I don't know what it is, and it's a guy on his knees having his face between the leg of a woman that is not moving, and she's on the bed. And then I see that guy, slim, slender, with long hair, about 6 feet, that you wouldn't think he would do that, I said. And he had blood here. You know, he stepped up after, and it was almost in another frame in the room. And I heard disgusting leopard. Now this is last summer, before I start to speak about the asteroids and comet and the green mist that I see the devil lifting up last year. One of my first video. I was in Vancouver, which I was. The church was closed, which now it is closed with coronavirus. The green can represent the comet or World War III, a gas. It's a gas. Lift her up. I looked away. I looked back. She died. I'm like, and I heard don't run. I'm like, I don't want the devil, a nasty and muscular green mist, he had half a meter, to touch me. So I took a dive, but walking instead of running. And then I spoke about it. Then it was grabbing you, take the mark of the beast. If not, they torture you. And I crossed my arm like an X, a sign, and was not happy about this. Okay, now I'm in the east. My mom got sick. I don't know which is the best part. Usually in the west, the satanic here might be a war with China, but also there. But I'm not too sure about this. I didn't pray. And this disgusting leopard is a constellation, which is now, I know since a month, Leopardalis, which is in a constellation where in the north, I don't know, but it's a famous it's a camel and a giraffe, and they call it Cameleo leopardus, like camel leopard, but it's a long giraffe. But and the last thing is in red. So this was my first constellation, speaking of. And if you look at, instead of this, you can see like the snuff thing that I spoke. So something bad is gonna happen in the sky eventually. And that movie, that vision was like a movie, snuff, black and white. So I put, not knowing, another snuff movie. They knew, I don't, I'm just the messenger. Now last night, another 6 months passed. I start to eat, my health goes better. Lost a bit in the face, that's fine. Man, I start to see back maybe 20 years after doing all the round. So I wake up, I'm back staying in a month in the house, Montreal. I left. I had to leave, you know, they still see me as the young guy and no have patience. I was about to meet the guy in the painting, maybe 2 or 3 grand, pay them 600, still have this welfare, whatever the damn disability, studying. I was studying a bit everything, trying to publish things. First guy that sends money here, you know, it's encouraging. But the day before I pray, I said, God, man, where do you want me to go? Maybe that's why it happened. I just couldn't take no more. My mom's like, oh, you know, your brother is saying, but they both have mental problems now. I shouldn't say mental problems because that's condemning, but let's say they take some medication. Is it my fault because I didn't take the money? There's always, they miss explanation, which me, I play with fire, but I have my explanation, so I don't need that thing. But for people that look outside, but they didn't have love, so they always had a saying to try to help or something instead of have prejudice. Or my brother didn't have, my mother did have. One time I'm like, you know what, I hope you're gonna get crazy. Within a month something happened, and I apologize for that. That's a couple of years ago, 4 years. She fell down, she thought somebody wanted to kill her, and then this happened, trying to kill herself. I didn't say it, I said she was in ICU many months ago, so I flew over. I asked a question, my brother emailed, and he's like, ah, damn family, and my mom just took off in Niagara Falls. Took like 2 pills stuff, and I cried because I couldn't pay my phone, because when I went to beg in silence in a pour of blood in front of a church in North Vancouver and people give 20, it was 60. My phone was 2 months off, was publishing on Facebook, and I would have called my mom because I abandoned everything for God, including the welfare, including everything for months. And obviously some retard, evil retard, evil doer complain. And then I went to mass, because I'm not one of those beggars that goes to drugs. I'm in the body of God to share dreams and visions and prophecies. I go, I'm on my corner, and when it's over, two police, can we talk with you? Yeah. Oh, they don't want you to. I say, okay. And I say, what? There's no poor in the bodies of Christ. I'm trying to share dreams. Immediately somebody jumped trying to pull 20 after. The mass was over, even outside. It was too late. Would have been exactly, I think I had 40 at that time, I had 20 before. And would have been the 60. No, that cost a lot. And that's how people is. Well, what St. Francis was not poor in Christ? And how much he did. Was Jesus not poor? You know what? Sometimes you know so much that you have to receive something to put your anger down. The anger of God. When Jesus said, how much I have to endure you, much. But he had a box, which he didn't need much. He could have reproduced. He was king, he was God. He could have reproduced the food. He did it. We see Virgin Mary, when they miss wine, he said, son, they're missing wine. Already we know that he didn't make Joseph, his father on earth, go and work like a slave too much. Work to be healthy, but not like a crazy guy who needs money to go and buy hookers and all that crap. You understand? Not too much they needed. And if they lack something, we know Jesus was reproducing it, and he has the right. He's the Son of God. Would you not, if you're the Son of God, tell yourself you're lucky that you have some life and he has everything to give you in the other life, and stop looking about what you don't like and excusing, since he has everything to give you until you like it. So you got to take a spot of these angels that fell down. So Jesus reproduced some food because he said, my time has not come. But so he didn't need, but Judah used it. The fake priests use it anymore. More. One time here, I was in preaching here downtown. Forgive everybody. Forgive. You have to forgive the world. You have to forgive the rulers. Whatever they do, that's the only solution for not the past to hit you back in another war. And then I went in the north here in Toronto in a church, and it was time for me to buy a new jacket. Man, I'm telling you, $10 somebody give me, and the priest outside look at me with evil eye. Give me the evil eye. The woman said, I felt compelled with the Spirit told me, Jesus, to give you that. And every church I went, without saying one word in my corner, it happened 2-3 times. And that's the promise of Jesus. If you really follow me, I'm gonna take care of you, like the birds. Remember, we see birds outside suddenly. So that's a confirmation for you, for people who have eyes. Not because I'm good, actually not follow 100%. I came back here, I canceled the check, right? 8 months, came back here, it's in the mail. My old address. I didn't ask for the other past, I heard don't talk about it. Somebody was cashing it. The second back check was signed by hand instead of a normal 5-sheet. I've never seen this all my life for no one. I didn't mention it. And if it's somebody in the office, let them have it. They endure so much with fake crazy like me, or you play crazy, you end up, it's a curse. You put yourself, you wear a robe, you wear that kind of green robe, you're gonna become that green robe. There's so much you can mess around. Look at the actors when they take a thing. Sometimes with all the money they have, all the friends they can choose, they have sometimes difficulty getting out of these roles. Imagine somebody poor. But that was a thing without I knowing God, that I took as a challenge to do one book in when I was young. But the devil came and screwed me up, screw my health, screw everything. Asked me if I wanted to sell weed in that park I was riding. 2 hours. The guy said, I have a curfew. I look at my shoes in leather, out of the home for first time. So I'll do it 1-2 days, right? 200. I got 200, and next thing you know, start to smoke weed. You're thinking you don't know God. And You quit before you get caught. You return because you met a girl. That girl is a aristocracy bitch with the name She Wolf. She would hit you in the face later. And she lost billions. You lost billions. All her life goes sadness with man. And when you look at the picture later, which she almost never, all tattoo including a snake in her palm. And she had nothing. And she was a virgin. And take a picture of the with Prime Minister and the couple Obama. Like, is there anything there? And then her account goes off. I'm just saying, as less as I look, that's what I saw after many years. It is bad. It is bad. It is bad, man. But there was more thing important. So comes along second sex yesterday, man. I wake up and I'm in the bus, and now my pour after a day it's fine, but 2 days, man, it starts to get cold. I woke up, I heard last stop, everybody out. So I go out, and before this I see this almost homeless chick, but skinny, nothing repugnant, all her white teeth, no blemish, no screw on drugs. So I go to sit at the back, which I never did because I did it in the bus before and I had peace. I barely slept in 2-3 days, but I felt good. So I went there just to run away from the cold, and she take that spot suddenly. So I go in the other corner, and you know, the planets, the attraction, suddenly I feel something, you know, but fell back asleep. Then I heard, hey, last stop. I go out, so I'm waiting for the other bus. This girl comes, you have a cigarette? I'm like, no. Next things comes to another, which I didn't usually care, but since she had nothing, devil knows. But I'm at this point, I'm sleepy walking. I'm sleepy walking, right? I didn't know that. So, but I didn't do the real sex. But then I regret it. Yesterday I could, it became so high, this gift of thing, that I went to the dollar store and I could see everybody. This guy is masturbating. The smell, this couple, I couldn't pass in front of an active sexual couple. I had to go like this. Not for the coronavirus, but for that, for people, you know, even a walk in a trail in the woods. And when I didn't, my first thing was to do this. I didn't, and then I felt it overwhelm me. I understood later. It was disgusting. It was so funny that the girl was young. She had a mask like this in the wood, but not the old guy. Ugly. So I don't know if he was buying something, but now I woke up, I bought some food, and I wake it up in the east side with beaches. So, and this is why I want to say this, okay? When you sin, you're in a world of illusion. It's a real world, but it's a distorted world that you're not supposed to see. It's not the truth. Let's say you follow God. You see signs, you see God talking to you because you follow God, you follow the truth. Everything starts to be clear. And then your health too changes, everything changes. Your bad habits gone. But if you do something bad like smoking a cigarette or a sexual thing, even after you stayed with God, and I'm not talking about people you would have brought to God, they feel that effect, just like when you carry your family inside. And I'm gonna tell you why this happened. When I left home, excuse me to jump here, I shut the door of my family without hating. I said, don't call me. My mom tried to call me after 2 days, but I'm already in Toronto. I didn't even listen the voicemail because it would have brought me down. But sometimes you have to. Still to this day, I try to call my voicemail like 5-6 times, but I can't. Yet before, as my family is separated, my dad want me to ask them if he could come in Montreal, and my mom said, no way. He comes, I go. And I heard myself, God saying, don't shut the door, meaning to your dad. But that's a saying that everybody has to do this. Don't shut the door. Then my mom did it. What goes around comes around. Next thing you know, I do to them, not because of my dad, but for another reason. Family is not strong. They lost one person, they want to lose another one. So I go because they're never happy. They have no patience at this time. They saw how much I change and I forgive them. But you know, they're not happy yet. Maybe because I don't have the millions or something. Like at this point, what else do you want me to say? But I leave. I don't know if she said, hey, come back. If thought she was after a day somewhere. Or the fact that I was going and say, you know, and I was buying the food and I said this was not even one quart. What's wrong with you and people? And I just left. So I shut the door, and that's not Christian. One thing brought to another. I went out and I stay in a place sometimes that it's outdoor church, but there's no priest for years. Matter of fact, when I was in the woods, I went there 1 or 2 times I asked in my life. And with the Vancouver, that's many years, and that's it. I went out of the woods, I couldn't do no more. I said to somebody, and I had my robe of Jesus, can I have $5? I was out of bread. I was going nowhere, and I was doing Divine Mercy Apostolate with free flyers, working for free. And the woman said, sure. Next thing you know, somebody said it to the priest. Another day the priest comes, and it's a place that apparently the Virgin healed his right eye, and me, I had a problem. Say, hey, you ask money, buddy. I went out. I even give him money before him, 50, $100, I don't know. And I was poor. I cursed that place, man, when I abandoned the church 2012. That monastery, that place is worth on Shepherd and Weston about hundreds millions. I don't know. They can make condos. It's an heritage of the Gardner. It's a Gardner summer house. You know, they have the Gardner Express, which is a highway. That word, there's deers there. That word is worth a lot of money with the Humber River. They had the church, they had the community center. The Basilian Fathers bought them, and now it's almost heritage, 90 years old. But they wanted to sell that place. They sent that priest to Brazil. All the priests there disappear. There's nobody for years there. But there's a money hungry a guy that rightfully built the place or helped the priest, a son of a carpenter. But he goes there and he picks the money every day, whatever hundreds there is with the candles. Picks the money every day. I won't say I have a good or bad relationship with him. But yesterday, many times I had nothing, and I can count on one hand. God said, okay, just, you know, that $5 or something. And it was never, it was always leaving loose. And yesterday, man, when God didn't help me with the sport prophetic, I detached. I didn't even want to pass there and sleep around close by with the forest. I didn't want to the statue. Took that $40. I wouldn't have give 20 to a street girl, never without it. And eventually this became because I closed the door to my mom. And that, it's not a hate, but it's not a love, open door. And that brought another thing, and then another sin, and then that thing. That 40, I didn't feel nothing, was in a box. Many times, man, I could needed money and I saw it, I never took it because I want to be close to the truth and God, and it's gonna hurt me. But now that my money is the money of the world, in a sense, prophetic dream, God can give me a exact score tomorrow. It gives me this dream, and I didn't understood 2 hands, 2-0, as simple as that, because before I had with the fingers. I think before with the fingers was more the devil. Now I was more close because I saw God giving the hand, the Virgin praying. And instead of having a dream or asking 1 second, I pray. I had to pray for 2 hours for that, man, on my knees. I really wanted to buy a ticket, plane or goes, and I got mad when I didn't realize it. You know, it's just a couple hours or a day to realize, and with my health is... So I got mad. But God gave back some. But you know, free money or stolen money, and it's not stolen. Since I saw God, you know, I can say Jesus is my brother. And of course, he said it too. He said the younger brother went and squid, and he said, you're a good manager, but you squirrel a lot. And but I won't say too much, because if I fell, then I'll be very guilty. But as long as my health is back, I'm gonna do great. I'm gonna, I'm gonna do great in success of this world, which is not great, or I'm gonna do great. My heart, inside heart, is gonna win at the end, and with or without money. But it seems like God doesn't want. He wants the true things. So even poor people, when they look at you and you did it through Christ, they can even find themselves. But if it's different place for different people. But I should have been an artist. I already lost. Should I go back and do it? And then, many years I asked myself. That I'm not surely. Just like in Vancouver, it's easy to be. It's not easy, but it's very open to open the doors for priesthood. Here it's more, There it's I got received. Vancouver Museum, the only museum that called me back when I sent 10 pictures 10 years ago without any shows around for a group show. But then I said I moved from Montreal to Vancouver same day, Montreal to Toronto, and they're like, barely could speak English. Smoke a joint the day before and not in years. How much I was sounding on the phone, I'm not sure, but my loss, they're lost, everybody's lost. And I won't say again how I painted just in case I return, which I said it many times. Even though it's copyright and nobody can do it like me, even blind. This is the idea too. Not only the style, but I'm talking about the origin, And the devil, I remember in 2006, says you want to trade your style for how to paint good. Now I just use the smallest brush, man, and go by the dots close and two-dimension, and that's a real start. But then you need money. You ask some people how to do things, how to do that kind of clothes, that kind of stuff that I wanted, money to get more. And I remember I even, anyways, man. So this thing comes, and now I don't feel good because of this thing, this looseness. It's not good, man. And there was something I wanted to say about this, but yeah. So now, since then, exactly when it happened, oh man, I took a sleep, I think 8 hours, man, after this. 6 maybe, which was a lot more than I needed. Not only I was empty after many months, instead of the few nocturne, which is maybe the will of God for the body, nocturne discharge, which is in the Bible, and then you wash yourself and that's it. And even though I was chasing, not looking at woman, this is a way, maybe, as a man it goes. For people who are holy, it's in the Bible, and you don't need to be pervert for that. Sometimes it happens, you just don't know. It might be the cold, it might be you eat. It's just the body does it. So maybe lack of prayer on your knees, and me, a problem with the eye. So sometimes I want, but so there was no guilt on that. Barely guilt on yesterday, but I don't know, man. As long as you're not, like a priest official, or, I'm used to be like, look, body of Christ. No, I don't even go to church for many years. Everybody's, everywhere I used to look to the coldness of people in the church. Another thing, when people, the prophecy of the cold heart's gonna drew at the end. See people have the welfare and they beg. Those are fake. They're robbers, man. Because you see, I talk about this vision that I had, the dream of Archie Mounbatten giving money when he was young and saying, go buy yourself this, go buy yourself that, go buy yourself this 3 times. It's almost like the 3 steps of his life. The first one was in a store, clerk, Indian. He entered, go buy, and people looking like this. And I had the feeling that they owned the store. So I didn't have the wisdom. Then the second part, it's in a building. He takes the elevator, comes out alone again. And there's one obese black woman again, this time black, not Indian, and she's loitering with one skinny man behind her, and you could see that the guy was using her, and she had maybe those self, you know. And he says, "Here, go buy yourself a dress." She goes alone. The guy comes on his back saying, "Can I come with you?" So again, no wisdom. The third part was he goes, just like if he was continuing that trajectory, goes into an apartment. Apartment is empty, shelves, no TV. Probably war's gonna come. There's one woman, like those big buildings you have, government building, like deserted, poor, and he says, "Here, go buy yourself a radio." I said, "How much is a radio?" Because at that time last year in Vancouver, when I did, and the family went there and stopped with the success, they call themselves the Dutch, and I don't like that word, sex, is it? And they left the royalty, which was probably the will of God, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're corrupt, just like the church today. But I shouldn't say that, because they have their fightings, and people are not always nice. But anyways, but I don't like Protestants, and I mean, just like God wouldn't like them. Not He likes the people, but not the idea of separating from the first church now for some personal gain. He goes, and $100, and radio now I understand is like the modem, because I saw it, and she had one under the shelf. So again, no wisdom, and this is like the 3 stage of his life. He was black, he had an afro, that's probably symbolist. Then I saw his mother in spirit many months later saying, "I don't believe you," because when I went in Toronto, somebody in a store, Chinese, looked exactly like her in Toronto, and I didn't know even at that time that she was from Toronto. That woman was pretty. And when I bought something back, I said, "I came back to see you." She says, "I don't believe you." And I stopped there because I wanted to see where God's gonna bring me. But I was taking my first break and sun and and shorts every day and relaxing and beers, and she was where I used to hang out, and many times I'm like, should I go and ask her number? But I'm like, I'm returning to Vancouver, so I won't care. Next thing I stood, and she was just like her, man, but younger, might be even more pretty, but they could call themselves sister or twins, I think, and people, like, at least half will believe now, if not more. So for me, it was a sign that she didn't believe me, and maybe for that. But now I understood today that he was saying, when you toss a corner to somebody and say, "Go buy yourself a life," it's almost, because why I'm saying this, for the begging, you shouldn't give, unless you're the Antichrist, money to people who don't ask you. When you had those old paintings, the saints, what about the saints then? Since they showing the way. But when they were going, and you see those paintings, they give to poor, the poor goes and ask, the hands, "Hey, give me." Then you give. Jesus says, "Give to who ask." The problem is today, the people, they get the welfare, they even work, they even beg. And then they're predators with young girls with weed, like God showed me, and color hair, or doing everything except the act in case they get caught, or to not have trace, or I heard to not talk about it, or they're doing drugs, they selling drugs. It's a way to be on the street at night. So people are fed up. They don't know, why I give to them. He has the welfare, and rightly so. Rightly so. The worst part is if somebody wants to follow God clearly, and the church is doing the same thing, corrupt, scare about people who goes in silent and ask for God, no explanation, no dirt. But other people dirt, the priest gonna be scared in case the guy swears at them and won't say nothing, and smile as a complacent smile. So the real people in church loses. They wants to turn in the streets, loses. Maybe I didn't win patience enough, or didn't humble myself for a year or so. But I'm not playing that game at that time. It's not my job. But you see, this what's happening to me. It's happening in the whole world. So these people are begging wrongfully, man. So it should be the beggar that comes sees you, not you. You walk, like Jesus said, the hypocrites. What you're doing with one hand, let the other not knowing. Probably you're in the move, man. They're going to their point and they're begging or something. Let's see. And they're supposed to come see you. So now if Archie goes like an Antichrist, there's the money, here's the money. How come he has the money in the first place? Like, oh, it's the royal. Okay, well, I'm a royalist, first of all. Okay, but I don't see him doing good in that. I don't know, man. We'll see what's happening. Maybe at that time it will be so bad. But the fact that he says go buy yourself a radio, like 666 radio frequency, and 5G now is following you, and the false prophet, the prophecy in the book of Revelation, the false prophet, you know, make an image to the beast, which is 666, which is like the countries together, the beast, which is also, you know, that system of surveillance, who takes away your freedom of religion, who takes away your salvation. If there is one at least truth. So then Jesus comes, at least nobody's saved no more. There's so much oppression. And finally, I wanted to say one more thing about something else that I just touched. Oh yeah, so some people who don't know it, my background, God speaks. But if I'm holy, I'm holy. And let people who see sometimes, oh, this guy, just in case nobody said that. But if somebody, I've seen so much narrow in mind, and that will say, oh, this guy, he saw in a dream interpretation, it might be right. But oh, come on, it would not be from God, because there was something a little bit, what do you call, disturbed. Then it's still holy, but they will think that God will not use that image or something from that person that had this background and today more dirty. But then these people that talks like police of the spirit, they don't do nothing against what's going on in the world at 10,000 worst time, and people who will not speak about God and doing bad stuff. They're cowards, man. But somebody will speak about God, give an interpretation for the good and holiness of the people. He will detract them through envy. Man, come on, man. Find yourself another fish to do this. I'm not a fish, but find yourself somebody else to do this, man. I've done 10,000 around in poverty. I've been rich and poor in poverty. God told me, I've been stupid for health. My face, I've been the smartest maybe man in the world. I asked, go do it to somebody else, man. And the matter of fact, like you're doing to one person, you're doing to everybody. When I heard somebody screaming at me for no reason, you know what I tell them? And I'm not even ashamed, might be shocking for you. I said to people, hey man, go do this to God, or go do this to Jesus. And that's a way of saying, would you do that to him? So why are you doing to somebody? That's cowardice, that's bullying. And the fact is that when I don't do something bad and somebody will do that to me, yeah, I will tell them that. And sometimes they start to realize, might be shocking, but that's the truth. It's not shocking, it's not hurting. So if people saying sometimes, oh, the imagery, because I could start to see that some people maybe would have thought, oh, the imagery of that dream, that person, that's not coming from God. Buddy, I wanted to say something else. You know, even if my wine was artist, how do you think I'm going to speak, or God will fish for bad artists that even sold their soul to be better? Now, if that helps them even better, it's helping. And eventually it's what you're doing with it. And maybe God is a way for me to saying, listen, I'm going to give you in a dream just a bit of dirt. You use your intelligence, because this is your quality first. Some other people will be the punch or something. And that you got to be enough that you're not going to do anything bad like this today. You know? Because then you realize also by thinking about it and watching, and Jesus says watch, not sleeping, that it's not good, man. So yeah, the Bible says don't be ignorant of the scheme of the devil. Don't be ignorant of what's going on. At least you fall, man. These are traps. They're like traps in the woods for, you know, they put traps for animals. There's full of traps now the devil puts you, man. You know, God's mercy, and knowing that the devil does that, you might feel protected so much that people will not believe in the devil, and some do bad and the devil leaves for a while. Time to put traps for other men, and that's success. And women's dressing, but they know, man, because here the upper body, they will feel it's an oppression. When you grab these demons, you're not the truth. Somebody will try to scare you. You're not ready to die. Somebody that is preaching God, somebody comes in behind. It happened to me here. A black guy. It is. I'm not racist, but that's how it is, because that's how they choose it to. Those prejudice prototypes. That's why when it comes in a dream, like that black guy in Managua, I asked the exact score. He steals shoes. It might be ridiculous, but when you looked at it, they were playing against the principal of that country, which they have money and more citizen. He went the left, and their logo is a barefoot lion, and they're in South America. Black skin. It has nothing to do with racist at first, but it might be funny. But that's how it is in this world. It's not gonna be in heaven. Somebody can make funny out of something. Look at this teeth. I went play poker when there was, and I feel so sleep after 24 hours. My face, poof. And the passenger I woke up was infected there. I had to pay $1,000. And look, you see the color is different. It doesn't cost much to whiten it. Somebody might tell me I'm a clown because of this, and in a sense, he will be right, because I know where I got it. I play cards, or might somebody that has lost some teeth, might somebody tell them, man, you have a big mouth, you're a liar. They might be true, but everybody's doing mistakes, man. But it is what it is. You have to accept in comedy or your irony your wrongdoing. And that makes me think about the saint when he went again about cards. He went somewhere in a bar or whatever they were calling back in the centuries, and he was starting this thing for his orphanage as mission. So he went there, inspired probably by the spirit, told him go enter there and ask. There was people playing cards, lots of money on the table, say, can I have something for my orphans? And one of the guys spit in his face. Probably the guy who was losing spit in his face. The guy wiped it gently and said, thank you, this was for me. Now can I have something for my orphans? One of the guy, probably the guy who was winning, he started laughing, and he gave him the whole money of the whole game. So for rich people sometimes it's a joke, but when they see somebody truth like this, they know. It's like Brother Andre, one guy was truth, probably he has automobiles. I saw a little documentary, and he tried to drove it and it went into the ditch. They were both laughing. You see, it's like Brother Andre, he has a guy rich, he helps him. Let's do it with God. You have your weakness, but you're called to be a family man. At least now you're giving not for bad and hookers and gambling, but for people of God, to erect something, all in the body of Christ. Hey, look, the automobile, the new invention. Okay, I'll try it. Yeah. Boom, in the ditch. They both laughing. Cost a lot of money. They both laughing, because that's a sign it's not the good way to go. So they both laughing. God is teaching, and it's not the end of the world. It didn't hurt nobody at that time. But so anyway, so it's the message more than just, it's like a candy. Can look good, can be rotten. In a dream it can look bad, but there's a good thing to eventually is what person takes out of it and conduct themselves. And intelligence, what's enlightened intelligence, is not only walking straight, but not walking straight in the bad, but walking straight in God. And if you sin like I did yesterday, half sleepwalking, you go backwards. This is what I wanted to do, that movie. The signs, you go backwards. It's like another step. Suddenly I was walking and I didn't feel God talking to me no more. Instead of seeing from what I was thinking, signs, or even in the shop signs, It's not from God, but you cannot distract God from His world. So even the signs, when you follow God, they're taking good position. But now when you sin, you look, and from what you sin, you will look from a bad perspective. And God is away. I'm not even trying to say you're possessed at that time. Maybe you sin one time, but it's like walking backwards. You walk in front for months, and now you're going backwards, or you took a wrong turn of the streets. There's nothing good there. God is not there. And suddenly what you've seen is nothing. I fell back asleep. I woke up, and why this was happening? I was called to do more preaching for God, so you got to be busy. I always say for many months now, getting busy in God. And that's me not being scared, taking a fake name online. Start to share, man. Start to share to get, start to shine, preach, and this is how you get in blessings from God. When somebody preach on the street, he gets blessing from above, man, directly. More he does it, more it is. Gets blessing, gets healing from the body because he's getting blessed. Wins time in holiness instead of doing something bad. If you're lukewarm, the next step is probably being bad. If you're lukewarm, you're probably gonna lose strength or courage to do good because you delayed. And what is the next step? You don't even have to say, yes, I'm gonna do bad. You're gonna be desperate maybe, or lazy or weak, that the next thing you know, you look around yourself, you see bad things, you're just following. You know? And don't be ashamed if somebody's talking about God, man, and preaching, whatever. If you're working out, say, man, can I preach with you maybe once a month or something? And try it. See your body healing. Or like I did in Vancouver after wanted to be a boxer for a year. I checked the hell movies, and I was scared of hell. I know it's true. I had a near-death experience. I was in pitch black darkness, which is outer darkness. It's for people who don't shine, but it's not evil, but stay home and to not sin. That's not enough, man. That's outer darkness. I was crying. I was not happy. There was no furniture in my house. Outside was pitch black. I heard a demon. I thought it was a friend at that time. I was young. Said, let me go see outside. It was pitch black. That's outer darkness. I seen outer darkness in the skies, like people who were asking to be stars when I wanted to do classical music. So I listened to that. I had other things, and maybe Nostradamus. I was saying, by the way, God told me he's in hell because that prophet wanted to do what he wanted. He had the gift, but he did it his way. Obscure or not, he did it what he wanted to do in life. He didn't went out and preach. Prophets are called to be preachers. You understand this? Back in the days, how they get the message, not staying home and virtual and thing. Pope Benedict said, stop your virtual thing, man, laziness, snake, and share of people. Sometimes it's not too lazy, but you gotta share people. You know, a lot of times it's people already wanted to look for God. Doesn't matter what movie it is, it might help them. But outside, there's so much lost people that when you talk and preach, and God will tell them exactly at that spot what they needed, and that might heal them 10 years after they sin. Something might happen that God put an image when you were preaching, and yeah, they were looking for something, and so sin they don't see no more. The thick cloud has come, and God, where to go if you're and see that guy who called Jesus. Oh yeah, that preacher, 1 second, you know. Or when you say it already, instead of going and sinning like a woman pass half naked, it affects you, and you have to rebuke it. I have to rebuke it, Liz. If I accept it as a Christian or not, or complacent bias, the devil comes already. Even if you're like this, I'm telling you, I've tried. If I look at a movie, which I don't, and I see demon, and even as a Christian who don't sin, I don't care. It's already coming through the screen around you. So if we know this, the people who talk about the truth, you need to do it. Whatever you know, if somebody comes and give you $5 or not, that's not what you call. God's going to take care of you. Whatever you know, or take up your cross, is heal the world. And if everybody was doing this today, that person might go and all his day was changed because he heard you talk for 2 seconds about Jesus. And some devils gone out of him, or less than 10 meters, where all possessed alone, a car might have crashed him. So it heals, man. and we're safe through God's mercy. And God knows there's so much traps around, man, today. So don't be proud that you can go around and sin. That's through the mercy of God. He knows that the devil is so rampant today. And God bless you. Like 5-6 times I heard that's too much, that's enough. God bless you. Because I've sinned yesterday, pray for me. I'll leave the comment above, but pay less attention. And that's not important. Look at this United Group and that hook Freemasonry thing. You know that proudness when somebody do evil, proudness, the laughing, the not care laughing. Those are two common themes that always comes back. That's how they feed themselves, that proudness, like in your face. Because when you do it for God, it's humility and this and this. And if you eat, it might come out strong and screaming. Somebody sometimes need that, man. You gotta preach around people who are strong, like this construction guy. They need somebody who looks strong if they speak for God, because they're called to be strong. And they're like, man, all these lowing guy were for God. I don't want to be low like this. So do your part. We're all different, and in your path, without knowing, sometimes God will send people through His mercy. Man, there's a selection going on. I don't care what work, what's your bank account, who you are in this world that is passing. The bottom line is that there is a selection. And if the world will not turn to God, which is looks like, there's a selection, and there's going to be a end to this world. And the selection is you. I don't care what people tell you. The most important right now is you and your eternal life. That's it, man. Then whatever you feel like. People, your family, your neighbor, your dog, your fishes, which God can give you, of course, in heaven. Because in heaven, people are happy. So of course, dogs as animals have souls. Thanks for listening. If there's anybody out there listening, God bless you. If you could do one thing for God, which I wanted to say for me, but I guess for God, man, go out there and preach 5 minutes. Yeah, I forgot that. When I returned at boxing, 5 minutes I started, man, after the hell movies. 5 minutes in my corner just saying, Jesus helps you. Because you can start with big and but man, before you know, a week or two and more if you're truth, I was preaching way better than now with this camera. Way better than having a bag. I was in mid-heaven. And one time I was even preaching after a couple of days and crying because I was feeling the urgency and some souls that will be lost, and that love of God grasped me. And wait a minute, it's not over, because God is great. That love was so intense that people could feel it. You know, when we say proof is in when we say, you know, what you see is what you get. Well, the feeling is the feeling. And it didn't have matter. That's what it is. Faith sometimes is also the feeling. And people have to feel. When they don't believe, I don't believe in your God, they need to feel touch. That's faith. It's the feeling. So to those people I say is try and see the difference, man. But you gotta try. And if you were more like, oh, I don't want to try as much, you're gonna have to try. You're gonna have to do the rebalance the other side, because you want it to be stubborn. Maybe you gotta do it this way. Or, you know, go see where you find God in your ways of life first, and that will be enough for you at that time at least. And maybe higher, I don't know, later, whatever that means for you, getting less sins. Sins is dead, sins is a lie, and you already know that. Talking about these bad dreams, okay. Jesus is king! We're talking about the classic music. Jesus is king! Why there's no classic like music like this and we hear Jesus is king! Yoo-hoo! Everything is locked, man. Jesus for you. Jesus for you. You know, I was passing in front of police. I'm telling you, I don't know why. Well, there must be some reason before I went. When I pass, well, that's a secret. My friends, when you pass, if you're a Christian, or even if you're not a good Christian, but you believe, when you pass in front of police officers, at least them, you gotta bless them. Just bless them, or because that's what they need the most. That's what they're waiting. That's what they have to, and that's for your own security, and you need that. Not only, I'm not talking about corruption, but some accident, some bad people and devil, something might happen. And I've seen that one times when I was thinking about this, and I fell one time when I started to be Catholic, and I said, okay, I felt compelled to make a video one time and said there's not gonna be one death in the police. I didn't this year, and it was in 2012 or 13 or 11. Within 2 weeks, one police officer got drowned with a snowmobile. And when you fell, the devil knows, and when you don't step and take good position in God, devil comes and is able to steal that place. So that's why it's important to do when God wants you to do something. And at least now I start to understand I'm blessing. And if I don't even have to curse. I feel like it's the opposite. So you gotta bless them. If you're Christian, I'm gonna ask you one thing: is when you see police officers, you bless them, and you're gonna do much good in the world. I'm telling you. Amen.